What's up YouTube, ReggieTECH here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys this bar height DIY table that I made. I've always been a fan of do-it-yourself projects, and when I was walking down the city one day after work, I saw this gorgeous piece of glass just sitting there on the sidewalk because someone had put it out for trash. So I instantly thought, why not give this glass tabletop a new life? I hailed down a taxi cab and loaded this heavy piece of glass, and I took it home. When I got home, I began to clean this glass tabletop because it had paint splatter all over it. So I sprayed it down with some Windex, took a razor blade, and started to clean the surface. The best part about this tabletop that I found is that it didn't have any chips or cracks from being out on the street. So I was super happy about that. After cleaning this glass tabletop, I did notice that it was a piece of tempered glass and that all the edges were smoothened out and finished. This was an amazing find, and I'm sure a glass tabletop of this size and this thickness that is tempered and completely finished would cost no less than maybe $200 to $300, if not more. I'm super happy with the way that this table turned out, and I couldn't be more happy with the people that helped make this project come to life. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and take this glass tabletop that was someone's trash, and let's turn this into my amazing new bar height kitchen table. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright you guys, so the first step to this table build was to create some sort of base that this glass tabletop would sit on, and something that I can screw the legs into. So I went to my local hardware store, Home Depot, and I placed an order for two 2x2 by 96 inch Douglas fir molding wood boards. When I received these wood pieces, I made all my measurements and angles before I started to film, and here we are. Although I'm supposed to be using a circle saw or a jigsaw or something of that nature, I don't have access to any of those types of tools. But nonetheless, I do have this Milwaukee oscillating multi-tool that I'm going to be using to make all my cuts. And yes, if you guys are wondering, I am using a bunch of Canon toner boxes as supports while I'm cutting these pieces of wood. I wish I had the proper setup and the proper tools to do this job, but I tend to make do with what I have. And this oscillating tool did a great job with these cuts and with the angles that I had to cut, and those Canon toner boxes really were a huge help with cutting these wooden pieces. I don't know if I could have made these cuts as good as I did without having any kind of support. And these toner boxes created a great amount of support for this project. So let's see how these pieces turned out. And this is what the framing looked like initially after those cuts. Alright you guys, so I'm back, and as you guys can see, the whole base for the tabletop is completely finished. Now, when I had done the initial pieces for this base, I did the angles almost at a 45-degree angle, but I was off by a little bit, so it wasn't really lining up properly. So one of my uncles by marriage on my wife's side is a woodworker, so he helped me out by making the angles perfect on all of the sides, and he even reinforced the beam itself by adding a support beam on the center as well as edge panel beams right here. So that all will add strength to both the legs that are going to be standing up as well as for the table when it sits down on this. So I really want to give a big thanks for my Uncle Tio, because he really did help me out with this. And also, my initial plan after doing the frame and everything was actually going to be to reinforce this by just putting an angled piece right here. But after seeing how well this looks and how well, everything is just put together, this is just phenomenal. So just a big thank you to Uncle Tio. If you're watching this or if you see this, just, it looks amazing and it's going to do a great job.
So you guys, the next step is to drill holes into the wood so that we can get these legs on here. So these are the legs that I'm going to be using for this table build. These legs are made and sold by the Hairpin leg company. And these legs just look extremely stylish, and they're made out of metal. So these are the raw metal ones, and they have a clear coat over them so that the metal doesn't rust or doesn't decay or anything like that. And they look really, really stylish, so they're going to be on the ground like this, and I hope all of this is in frame so that you guys can see. But I have this facing down. So what I've done already before starting up the video is I've gone ahead and measured from the sides a good amount of space so that the holes that are pre-drilled on these legs will, go right into place, and there won't be any issues with them being crooked or anything like that. So to drill the holes for these legs, I'm going to be using a drill bit that is similar to the size of the actual screw that I'm using itself. So this is the screw that I'm using, and then this is the drill bit. So I've gone ahead and put a piece of painter's tape right here, just so that when I'm drilling, I know when to stop drilling so that I don't go straight through the wood. And also so that it's like, almost the perfect size of the screw head itself. So that'll work out when drilling. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to drill now.
So before I started to drill, I did mention that I measured out exactly where these holes were going to be, but I didn't mention that I did put a little tick mark with a Sharpie marker at the exact position where I'm going to be drilling. So I did 4 holes on each of the edges of the borders for this exact table mount. Alright you guys, so I have gone ahead and laid out all 4 of the Hairpin leg company's legs on top of the table frame here. And before we get started to install these legs, I just want to give a huge shout out and a huge thanks to the Hairpin leg company for supplying me with these legs for the purposes of this DIY build. Not only do these legs look super strong, but they also look very elegant for pretty much any setting that you can use them in. So let's go ahead and install them.
Alright guys, so now that I have the table in place and exactly where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and put on these little foot bits that the Hairpin leg company supplied with the legs. They come with every legs that you buy, and basically these little foot niblets, just dropped one, are kind of like a rubbery silicone material, and the foot fits right into the little space here, and it protects your floor as well as protecting the leg. So let's go ahead and put these on right now real quick. And I do like that they include those little bits. I'm sorry if the camera wasn't focused, but I do like that they include those little bits with the legs, because it really does save you the trouble of damaging your floors, especially if you have wood floors. And they also help you easily move the table because you can use them as like sliders basically. And finally, the last thing that I'm going to be adding, because this is a glass table, is these little rubber niblets that go around the corners of the table. And that'll basically be supporting the glass and also making it so that the glass won't slide or shift on the table frame. So now we're going to go ahead and put the glass tabletop on top of the frame and the legs, and we'll be done with this project.
And that was the whole process from turning this once put out for garbage glass tabletop to this beautiful bar height table. I just want to say a big thank you once again to everyone that helped out in making this table build and assembly possible. So a big thanks to Uncle Tio for correcting the angles on the table frame and for reinforcing the structure. A huge thanks to the Hairpin Leg Company for providing these amazing legs for this project. And finally, a big thanks to my dad for coming all the way out to my house to help me with the final touches by perfectly putting this glass tabletop onto the frame. If anyone wants to check out these legs, I'll be leaving a link to them down in the description box below, to both the Hairpin Leg Company's Amazon webpage as well as their official website. I would definitely recommend these legs to anyone that's looking to either improve their current table or building their own table. If you guys have any questions about this build, go ahead and drop them down in the comment sections below and I'll be quick with responding to them. And if you guys like this video, consider subscribing to my channel and don't forget to hit that little notifications bell so that you guys are the first to know when I upload my videos. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching and I will see you next time.